Okay, listen very, very closely because what I'm about to share, it's not just information, it's a lifeline, especially for our cherished seniors. We're told eat your vegetables like it's a holy grail, right? But what if some of these so-called healthy foods are silently, insidiously waging a war against your heart? I am almost begging you to hear this. Stay with me until the very end because the final insight, it's the one that could change everything. The piece of wisdom that ties it all together and could genuinely redefine your health and your future. Don't click away. This is too important. This isn't about fear-mongering. This is about love. This is about empowerment. It's about peeling back layers of misinformation that have become so ingrained we don't even question them anymore. The truth is our bodies, especially as they accumulate wisdom and years, develop unique sensitivities. What was once benign or even beneficial in moderation can become a subtle antagonist, particularly to one of our most vital organs, the heart. The wisdom I'm drawing from today, it's ancient, it's profound. Think of it as echoes from masters like Shi Heng Yi, those who understood the body's subtle energies and the true impact of what we consume. They knew that not all that grows from the earth is equally kind to every single soul at every stage of life. And for our seniors, for those of you who have given so much and deserve vibrant, healthy golden years, this message is a sacred offering. We're going to talk about 5 specific vegetables or vegetable families that you need to seriously reconsider, perhaps even eliminate, if you want to protect that precious heart of yours. And I know this will sound controversial. It might even make you angry or defensive because these are foods you've trusted, foods you've been told are good for you. But I ask you with all the sincerity in my soul to open your mind and your heart just for these next few minutes, because what you're about to hear could be the missing piece you've been unknowingly searching for. The modern world, with its blitz of health advice, often oversimplifies. Eat the rainbow, they say. More plants, always better. And while the intention is good, the execution, the understanding, is often tragically flawed. We've been led to believe in a blanket goodness, a universal pass for anything that grows from the soil. But the body is a complex ecosystem, a delicate dance of chemistry and energy. For seniors whose systems may be more sensitive, whose digestive fires might not burn as fiercely as they once did, and whose bodies have a longer history of exposure to various inflammatory triggers, certain plant compounds can become Trojan horses. They enter disguised as nourishment, but slowly, methodically, they can contribute to the very conditions we are trying to avoid. Inflammation, arterial damage, metabolic chaos, all of which lay a heavy burden on the heart. This isn't about demonizing food. It's about illuminating hidden truths, about recognizing that context, individual sensitivity, and the specific compounds within these foods matter profoundly. The shy level of wisdom always look deeper, beyond the surface, into the subtle interplay between nature and a human being. It's time we reclaim that depth of understanding. Are you ready to look beyond the veil? Because the first one might shock you. Let's talk about the nightshade family. This includes some incredibly popular vegetables: tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplants, and even potatoes, which we'll discuss more specifically later. For many, these are staples. Think of a vibrant tomato sauce, a colorful stir-fry with peppers, a comforting baked eggplant. Yet for a significant portion of the population, particularly as they age and inflammation becomes a more persistent concern, nightshades can be problematic. Why? They contain compounds like alkaloids, including solanine and lectins. These substances are part of the plant's natural defense mechanism designed to deter pests, but in sensitive human bodies, they can trigger an inflammatory response. For seniors who might already be dealing with arthritis, joint pain, or other inflammatory conditions, adding more fuel to that fire through nightshades can be a real, tangible issue. This chronic, low-grade inflammation isn't just about achy joints, it's a systemic problem. And systemic inflammation is a known major contributor to cardiovascular disease. It can irritate the lining of your arteries, making them more susceptible to plaque buildup and stiffening. Think of it like constantly rubbing sandpaper on the inside of your delicate blood vessels. Over time, that irritation leads to damage. The wisdom here isn't to fear these foods forever, but to become an astute observer of your own body. If you experience unexplained aches, stiffness, digestive upset, or if heart health is a paramount concern, a trial elimination of nightshades, guided by deep listening to your body's response, could be incredibly revealing. It's a truth many have discovered, much to their relief, once they dared to question the always healthy narrative. Next up, let's talk about some of those dark leafy greens that are often pushed as superfoods, specifically those high in oxalic acid or oxalates. I'm looking at you: spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, and even rhubarb. Now hear me out, because this is where the nuance is critical. These greens do contain valuable nutrients, but for certain individuals, especially seniors who may have a history of kidney stones, or those with specific genetic predispositions, or even those with compromised gut health, an overconsumption of high oxalate foods can spell trouble. Oxalates are compounds that can bind to minerals, most notably calcium. When they bind with calcium in the urinary tract, they can form calcium oxalate crystals, which are the most common type of kidney stones, an incredibly painful condition that can also put strain on your overall system. But the concern doesn't stop there. There's emerging understanding that high oxalate intake, especially in the context of a leaky gut, which many people unknowingly have, might contribute to systemic inflammation and pain in other parts of the body, as these tiny sharp crystals can potentially deposit in tissues and joints. For heart health, the indirect link is through systemic inflammation and the potential for mineral imbalances. If vital minerals like magnesium, also crucial for heart rhythm and function, are being bound up by excessive oxalates, it's another subtle stressor. The ancient wisdom would point to preparation methods. Some traditional cultures knew to cook these greens thoroughly, often discarding the cooking water to reduce oxalate content. But in our modern zeal for raw spinach smoothies and massive salads, we might be overdoing it, creating an oxalate overload that our bodies, especially mature ones, struggle to manage. It's not that these foods are inherently bad, but the quantity and the individual's capacity to process oxalates are key. Moderation, mindful preparation, and again, listening to your body's signals are paramount. Don't let the superfood label blind you to potential downsides if your system is waving a red flag. Let's move on to a vegetable that's often a symbol of summer sweetness, but one that carries some hidden concerns, particularly for seniors focused on heart health and stable blood sugar. Corn. Yes, corn, especially the super sweet varieties that dominate modern agriculture, and often non-organic corn, which raises concerns about GMOs and pesticide residues. The primary issue with corn from a heart health perspective, particularly for seniors who may be managing prediabetes, diabetes, or insulin resistance, is its high glycemic impact. Sweet corn, despite being a vegetable, can cause a significant spike in blood sugar levels. These repeated spikes and crashes put a strain on your pancreas, contribute to insulin resistance over time, and foster an inflammatory internal environment, all of which are detrimental to cardiovascular health. Think of your blood vessels as flexible pipes. When blood sugar is chronically high, it's like sticky syrup flowing through them, making them less flexible, more prone to damage, and creating an environment where plaque can more easily adhere. Furthermore, corn is a grain, not truly a vegetable in the same way leafy greens or cruciferous vegetables are. It contains lectins, like many grains and legumes, which can be irritating to the gut lining for some individuals, potentially contributing to leaky gut and, you guessed it, more systemic inflammation. The Shi Heng Yi approach would emphasize foods that calm and balance the system, not those that create internal agitation and spikes. While a rare ear of fresh, organic, traditionally grown corn in season might be a different story for some, the prevalence of highly processed corn, corn syrup, corn oil, and the sheer volume in which it's consumed in many Western diets makes it a significant concern for seniors prioritizing a steady, calm internal environment for their heart. Minimizing or avoiding corn, especially the super sweet and processed varieties, is a wise consideration. It's a sweet deceiver that can quietly contribute to significant metabolic and cardiovascular stress. Now let's address another member of the nightshade family that often finds its way onto our plates as a comfort food. The white potato, baked, mashed, fried. Potatoes are ubiquitous. And while a plain, unprocessed potato does offer some nutrients like potassium and vitamin C, its overall impact, especially in the forms and quantities it's often consumed, can be less than ideal for seniors striving for optimal heart health. Similar to corn, white potatoes have a high glycemic index, meaning they can cause a rapid rise in blood sugar levels. This is particularly true for mashed potatoes, baked potatoes without the skin, and of course, French fries or potato chips, where the processing and added fats exacerbate the issue. These blood sugar surges, as we've discussed, are inflammatory and put a strain on your insulin response, contributing to metabolic dysfunction over time, a key driver of heart disease. Beyond the glycemic issue, potatoes are nightshades, containing those alkaloids like solanine that can be inflammatory for sensitive individuals. And when potatoes are fried or baked at very high temperatures until brown, they can form acrylamide, a compound that has been classified as a probable human carcinogen and is also associated with oxidative stress and inflammation. Oxidative stress is like internal rusting, damaging cells, including those lining your blood vessels, making them stiff and dysfunctional. The comfort derived from these foods can be a fleeting illusion if the long-term consequence is an increasingly burdened heart. The ancient masters of health would always prioritize sustained vitality over momentary gratification. They understood that true comfort comes from a body that is in balance, not one that is constantly fighting off inflammation and blood sugar roller coasters. For seniors, choosing lower glycemic, nutrient-dense root vegetables like sweet potatoes, in moderation and not fried, carrots or parsnips, and being mindful of the nightshade aspect if sensitivity is suspected, can be a far more heart-supportive choice than relying on the empty comfort of the common white potato, especially in its processed forms. The final vegetable, or rather legume, often consumed like a vegetable that I'm urging seniors to be deeply cautious about, particularly in its unfermented and processed forms, is soy. Soy has been marketed heavily as a health food, a plant-based protein champion, and for some in its traditional fermented forms like natto, miso, or tempeh, consumed in moderation as part of a balanced diet. It may offer benefits. However, the vast majority of soy consumed in the Western diet is highly processed, unfermented soy. Think soy milk, soy protein, isolate found in countless processed foods, soy burgers, and even tofu. For some sensitive individuals, this type of soy presents several potential problems for seniors concerned about heart health and overall hormonal balance. Unfermented soy is rich in phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that can bind to minerals like calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc, potentially hindering their absorption. These minerals are absolutely crucial for heart function, bone health, and overall vitality. It also contains goitrogens, compounds that can interfere with thyroid function, especially in individuals with pre-existing thyroid imbalances or iodine deficiency. The thyroid, your master metabolic gland, plays a critical role in heart rate, cholesterol metabolism, and energy levels. An underactive thyroid can contribute to high cholesterol, fatigue, and a sluggish metabolism, all of which can negatively impact cardiovascular health. Furthermore, soy is high in phytoestrogens, plant-based compounds that can mimic estrogen in the body. While this might sound beneficial in some contexts, for many seniors, both male and female, introducing significant amounts of external hormonal mimics can disrupt the body's delicate endocrine balance with unforeseen consequences. The Shi Heng Yi wisdom would undoubtedly advocate for foods that bring harmony, not potential disruption. The concern isn't just about one compound, but the cumulative effect of these anti-nutrients, goitrogens, and phytoestrogens, especially when consumed regularly in processed forms, creating a modern masquerade of health that might be slowly undermining your well-being, including the resilience of your heart. Questioning the pervasive "soy is always healthy" narrative is a crucial step towards true dietary wisdom. So we've journeyed through these 5 specific areas of concern: the inflammatory potential of nightshades, the oxalate overload from certain greens, the blood sugar chaos from sweet corn, the empty comfort and glycemic spike of white potatoes, and the hormonal and anti-nutrient concerns with unfermented soy. Imagine for a moment your heart. This incredible organ beats tirelessly day in and day out, pumping life through your veins. Now consider the cumulative burden when it's constantly battling low-grade inflammation from hidden food sensitivities, when its fuel supply is erratic due to blood sugar spikes, when vital minerals are being poorly absorbed, and when hormonal signals are being subtly scrambled. Each of these factors on its own might seem small, a whisper of imbalance, but together over months, years, decades, they create a symphony of stress that can lead to a weakened, overburdened heart. This isn't about placing blame or inducing guilt. It's about illuminating a path to lighten that load. The arterial stiffness, the plaque buildup, the arrhythmias, the fatigue, these are often the body's cries for help, signals that the internal environment is out of balance. The ancient wisdom, the kind that Shi Heng Yi embodied, always taught that the body has an innate capacity for healing, for balance, if we simply remove the obstacles and provide the right conditions. And for many seniors, these seemingly innocuous vegetables consumed with the best intentions might be unintentional obstacles on their path to vibrant heart health. Recognizing this is not a defeat, it's a profound victory of awareness, the first most crucial step towards reclaiming your body's innate vitality and easing the burden on your precious heart. It's about shifting from a passive acceptance of healthy labels to an active, engaged partnership with your own unique physiology. This understanding, this caution around certain plants for certain people, isn't some radical new invention. It's actually rooted in ancient observations, in the kind of deep, intuitive wisdom that figures like Shi Heng Yi and traditional healers across cultures have always possessed. They didn't have modern laboratories, but they had something perhaps even more powerful. Generations of meticulous observation of how different foods affected different people in different seasons at different stages of life. They understood the concept of food energetics, that some foods are inherently heating or cooling, dampening or drying, and that individual constitutions require different balances. They knew that a food that might be medicine for one could be a slow poison for another. This wisdom has been largely overshadowed by our modern reductionist approach to nutrition, which often focuses on isolated nutrients rather than the holistic effect of a whole food within the complex system of a unique human body. The idea that some plants have potent defense mechanisms, lectins, oxalates, alkaloids, that can impact human health wasn't news to them. They often developed intricate preparation methods, soaking, sprouting, fermenting, specific cooking techniques, all designed to neutralize or reduce these potentially harmful compounds. We've lost much of this ancestral culinary wisdom in our rush for convenience and our blind faith in broad dietary proclamations. But the clues are still there in traditional diets, in the practices of cultures that maintain vitality well into old age. The Shi Heng Yi wisdom encourages us to look beyond the supermarket slogans and reconnect with this deeper, more nuanced understanding of nourishment. It's about honoring the intricate dance between our bodies and the natural world, recognizing that not every gift from the earth is meant for every person in unlimited quantities. This isn't about restriction for restriction's sake. It's about discernment, about choosing foods that truly, deeply harmonize with your specific body, especially in its precious senior years. So if these common vegetables pose potential challenges, what is the path to true nourishment, especially for a healthy heart in the golden years? It's not about a complicated new diet with a fancy name. It's about returning to foundational principles guided by awareness and a deep connection to your own body signals. Firstly, prioritize whole, unprocessed foods as close to their natural state as possible. Think vibrant, colorful vegetables that don't fall into the high-risk categories we've discussed, especially if you suspect sensitivity. Things like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, carrots, beets, the root in moderation, cucumbers, celery, and a wide variety of other greens and vegetables that are generally well tolerated and less likely to contain high levels of problematic compounds for most people. Focus on gentle cooking methods, steaming, light sautéing, baking at moderate temperatures, which can make vegetables easier to digest and preserve nutrients without creating harmful byproducts. Embrace healthy fats, which are crucial for heart health, brain function, and reducing inflammation. Avocados, olive oil, nuts and seeds, if tolerated and properly prepared, and fatty fish rich in omega-3s. Ensure adequate high-quality protein from diverse sources to maintain muscle mass and overall strength. And critically, listen to your body. This is perhaps the most profound piece of wisdom echoed by sages like Shi Heng Yi throughout time. Your body is constantly communicating with you. That subtle indigestion, that lingering fatigue, those unexplained aches, these are not just random annoyances. They are messages. Keep a food journal if it helps. Notice how you feel after eating certain foods. Are you energized or are you bloated and tired? This intuitive eating, this deep internal listening, is far more valuable than any generic dietary guideline. True nourishment is a deeply personal journey, one that honors your unique biochemistry and the wisdom accumulated over a lifetime. It's about choosing foods that make you feel genuinely vibrant, alive, and well from the inside out. Supporting your heart not as a task, but as an act of profound self-love and respect. We've covered a lot of ground, and I know some of this might be challenging to hear, especially if these foods have been a regular part of your life. But my plea to you, from the deepest part of my being, is to not dismiss this. Don't let the discomfort of questioning old beliefs prevent you from exploring a path that could lead to profound improvements in your well-being, particularly the health of your heart, which is the very drumbeat of your precious life. This moment right now could be a turning point. It could be the instant you decide to become the chief investigator of your own health, to move beyond passive acceptance of generic advice and step into a more empowered, aware relationship with your body and the foods you choose to fuel it with. The wisdom of the ages, the insights from those like Shi Heng Yi, who saw beyond the superficial, tells us that true health is a delicate balance, an intricate dance. And for our beloved seniors, achieving and maintaining that balance requires an extra layer of mindfulness, of gentle discernment. The 5 vegetable groups we discussed, the nightshades, the high oxalate greens in excess, the sweet corn, the white potatoes, the unfermented soy, these are not universal evils, but they are potent variables that, for many, can silently tip the scales away from heart health and toward chronic inflammation and metabolic stress. The final insight, the one I truly believe is the most powerful, is this. Your body holds an innate wisdom, a capacity for healing and vitality that is far greater than you may have ever been led to believe. By courageously questioning what you put into it, by daring to remove potential irritants even if they are lauded as healthy, and by attentively listening to its subtle and not-so-subtle feedback, you unlock that innate power. You become the steward of your own vitality. This isn't about a list of bad foods. It's about a new way of being with food, a conscious, loving partnership with your physical form. Take this information not as a rigid set of rules, but as an invitation, an urgent, heartfelt invitation to explore, to experiment, and to discover what truly nourishes you, what makes your heart feel light, strong, and joyful. Your golden years deserve to be vibrant, energetic, and filled with life. Please, for the love of your own precious heart, consider this message. Don't let this be just another video you watched. Let it be the one that sparked a change. The power is, and always has been, within you. Listen, trust, act. Your heart will thank you.